Alright, we're hopefully going to do a quick one. This is going to be CheifViking, who is playing Moira on Midtown, and they are in bronze something. They originally made a post where they complained about their team, and then I responded back to that, and I was like, hey, look, post a replay code, to which they did. So since when people generally oblige me, I do them a favor and actually review the replay code as well. So I can read out the original post. Hi everyone, I'm currently stuck in bronze. I have been since the launch of Overwatch 2. An average, a minimum of 10,000 healing, 5,000 damage. I have least amount of deaths on my team. Having seen this replay, I don't think you have least amount of deaths, but that's okay. My DPS thinks they are impervious to bullets and Leroy Jenkins themselves into the charging gold bull that is Orisa. They get wiped from the face of the earth in mere moments, all just to do it again without waiting for a team push. My tank is one of two things. They're either dumber than a sack of hammers, as they can't tell the difference between the objective and the widow across the map, or they are too afraid to hold W and sit there complaining their pocket healer isn't seeing enough to keep them up. I assume that means healing enough to keep them up in a 1v5. The other healer must be an actual 80-year-old with cataracts. My Ana is unable to land a single hit on either team, proceeds to fall off the map. The frustration comes in when I get the chance to play with the odd silver or gold that comes into the match. We end up dominating the other team because we can use a strategy other than run at the D.Va bomb and give it a hug. Is it me? Am I the issue? I'm starting to go crazy and hope asinine, I don't know what word this is supposed to be, I assume this is an autocomplete problem, can give me advice on how to escape this MMR hell, maybe that's a player, that I seem to be stuck in. Any advice would be appreciated. So we got a lot of team blaming here. It's especially funny because again, you're like blaming your team for their awareness and mechanics, and as we will see in this replay, that's going to be a huge problem for you. This is their actual post with the replay code. After I've had a few people commenting my last post to see what games look like, here's the code down below. I played Moira for the majority of the match. I usually main Moira and Mercy. I also play on Xbox if that helps. I went through 20 eliminations, 12 deaths with 13,000 healing and 13,000 damage, 12,000 healing. This seems to be the average game for me. Is there anything I can do to improve my gameplay here? Is this loss my fault or my team's? Any advice here would be appreciated, as I'm super open to learning how to improve and stop losing every game in bronze. So I'm not going to roast you nearly as hard, since I think your second post was pretty reasonable, but your first post makes you sound like a huge entitled jerk. But that's fine. Okay, so let's kind of take a look at the game. For starters, this is bronze in console, which means this is like below bronze in PC, and we will see that this is going to look really, really bad. And as to your loss being your team or you, like, it's everybody's fault. You know, like, there are 5 players on your team, so if you lose, like, everybody bears some degree of responsibility for it. The question is not trying to assign blame, but trying to think, like, could you have done anything to change the outcome of the game, right? Because everybody in the team could have. If we replaced, like, your tank with a GM tank, they would probably easily win this game, right? If we replaced your DPS with GM DPS, they would easily win the game. If we replaced you with a GM, support, they'd easily win this game. In fact, we don't even go to GM. I feel like if we replaced you with, like, a gold support, they'd probably win this game very easily. Or heck, just replace you with a PC player at bronze, and they would win this game, because console is typically a lot less competitive. So, again, instead of trying to assign blame to a specific person on your team, think about, could I have done anything differently? Like, how can I play the best that I can, right? That's the dominant advice everybody gives. Sorry, still sick. And we're kind of watch that play out. So you can throw a damage orb. It's perfectly reasonable. Trying to farm a little charge here. Now, your starting problem is you are in the wrong spot. As a general rule, imagine the space between their tank and your tank, right? Excluding, like, if they're running Doomfist or something, or either team is running Doomfist. But generally speaking, especially for Brawl poke lineups, the space between your tank and their tank, right, is like no man's land. Like, don't be standing there pretty much ever as a support. I think that's a really good overall rule for you, because you don't seem to know that rule at all. So you're frontlining right here, and the reason why you shouldn't frontline is because they could have just come out the door and just killed you instantly. Right? Imagine if they had a Widow right here, or Hanzo, or even a Cassidy. Like, you would just die, like, right away as soon as they come out. And you're just tempting fate right now, attacking this Sigma and this Brigitte. Brigitta. Actually, I think I learned it recently. It's Brigitta. So this is really bad. Again, the only reason you're not dead is because they're not hitting shots. If you plan on climbing, people will get way more accurate at you. Like, if I'm a Sigma, I see you here, I'm just going to kill you. Like, there's virtually nothing you can do. I'm going to force Fade first, right? But I'm not going to be missing, I don't know what is, like, 8 shots so far. So, like, this is not going to go well for you, right? Plus, the Brig should hit whips out at you, and then you're close to insta-kill dead range. So, Sigma's trapped there, and you're just damaging. Their Reaper flank behind you. But again, you don't really care. You're really just, like, kind of concerned with frontlining. Again, it's really funny that you're like, oh, my tank's all, like, game sense awareness, blah, blah, blah. Like, you are literally leading the point of attack right now for your team. And this only works because the other team is simply not attacking you. But this will stop working later. And you're doing this because you just don't get punished for it, right? So you don't, because you've never played at a higher level, you don't understand what it means to get punished. So we'll see, right? None of these are good plays. This is just the other team being absolutely ridiculous. And again, eventually this will catch up to you. And when I say eventually, I don't mean like in the future, I mean like this game. This game, this will catch up to you. So right here, by the way, you could have just thrown Damage Orb earlier to try to force the Kiriko out. But once again, you're frontlining. Now you're taking a ton of damage. You're at 50 health, and then you fade. But for the record, everyone on the team will see you fade and recognize that when you come out of fade, there's nothing you can do to not die. Right? If I'm the Cassidy, or the Sigma, or anybody here that just saw this happen, or heard this happen, the second you come out of fade over here, they just walk forward and they kill you. Like, what's your plan to get out of this corner? Nothing. There's like, your team cannot save you here because you're super overextended. So this is a very, very bad fade. Also, you're right next to a mini. You can see it on your screen right here, and you decide not to pick up the mini. Team's right here. Right? Now you're finally getting shot at. You have 3 health. You fade. You slam into the wall. You're grossly overextended. Right? Look at where your team is versus where you are. You're clearly super, super overextended. Again, extraordinarily lucky that you don't die immediately. And then I also want to point out that your Orisa's going to die here. So your Orisa should generally be expecting healing. I think that's a fair point, right? Especially from the Moira, who is generally considered like a main healer, right? The Kiriko should be handling your DPS. You should be handling the Moira, the tank. And your Kiriko is in fact doing her job, right? Your Kiriko's back here playing DPS, stopping this flanking Reaper, doing whatever crazy shit that's happening on over here. You should be behind your your Orisa just healing. That's what you should be doing right now. But instead you're not, so your Orisa gets super low. She's forced to retreat, and then she's gonna die. And I'm gonna just play this back starting from here, where Orisa has full health. This is not like super unreasonable for Orisa to be playing here. Shooting, doing this thing, hasn't gone healed, 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 and dies. I want to track just how long this is. Okay, starting at 143. It's been 5 seconds. It's been 10 seconds. That's about 12 seconds later. So in 12 seconds, despite the fact that you were next to your tank this entire time, you never heal your Orisa again. So if you think, man, what could I possibly do to like change the outcome of a game? I would start with keeping your tank alive. Like even the barest minimum of healing would, I think, be greatly appreciated by your Orisa. You know, it's not like you were doing something super valuable. It's not like you're getting like a 3K in the backline. You're just fading, going around, attacking a tank, doing no damage, getting blown up, right? Fading here, colliding to the wall, going over here. So again, just keep your tank alive. It's really that simple. Like, people complain about their tanks all the time in Bronze, and from my perspective, the tanks are fine. All you do is keep them alive. Like, do they make mistakes? Absolutely. But if you literally make them invincible and just heal them, they will win you the game. And then you get killed, finally, because you decide to walk behind a Sigma, who, by the way, can one-shot you, and you get rocked, and then you get one-shot. That's not a good play. You know, dying is generally not a good play, right? You have 12 deaths in this game. I think you could have gotten away with like 2 for perspective, as how many deaths that I've watched that were absolutely ridiculous. Again, in this situation, first of all, you should never be in this situation. But second, all you had to do was just not walk behind the Sigma, right? Just go this way, right? Or like jiggle peek right here, wait for fade to come back up in 2 seconds, and then fade to the backside of the point, which is safe. Just walking to the enemy tank and having them kill you is not the play. Alright, so you're going to come back on the point. Your team is doing a pretty good job contesting here. You're damaging. Now, is this the right time to damage? So your Junkrat's really low up there. I would have healed him first, for sure. And you saw him that he was up there. But you do you, I guess. So Reaper's just attacking you, and for the record, your idea of dodging is to just walk backwards in a straight line. Does that look like dodging to you? Does that look like it makes it hard for him to shoot you? As a general rule, you should probably try to dodge. You know, like this is kind of like FPS 101 is you're getting shot at and try to dodge. Dodging is moving left and right. It is not moving backwards in a straight line. And so the Reaper honestly should have done more damage to you, but you get away super low here. And you had a variety of options when you faded. Okay, option number one, probably safest, is to go over here, pick up the mini, right? Come up here, get healed by the Kiriko, and then re-engage in the fight. Option number two would have been to fade and go this way, right? Throw healing orb to yourself, get that mini, come back into the fight. Option number three would have gone this way, pick up the mega, come back into the fight. You chose none of these options, and instead, right, this Reaper's going to force you back. Oh, wait. Yeah, this Reaper's going to force you back. For the record, don't get close to Reaper. Reaper's a very dangerous close-range hero. If you've been playing Overwatch for 4 months, I would expect you to know like basics like this. He's like a close-range shotgunner. You instead land straight into the enemy tank, which, as I pointed out earlier, the tank can easily kill you. He could kill you in literally one hit right now. And you decide to walk into the whole team. Okay, you're walking into literally 4 people right now. And expecting, with half health, and expecting nobody to attack you. And the miraculous thing is, nobody does. Like, that's the craziest thing about this game, is this is truly, like, you're complaining about, like, oh, how do I get it? This is truly, like, the bottom of the barrel of Overwatch play. Of like, quality of games. Like, this Cassidy, right, is going to see you fade. Wait, I feel like I'm too far up. So I want to track after your fade. So you're going to fade into the back line. Okay? This Cassidy is going to walk up, as does this Brig, who for the record also could kill you instantly right now. Right? She didn't even need to attack you. She could literally just use whip shot, or actually do one melee and a whip shot would instantly kill you right now. But the fact that she bumps into you just does nothing. The Cassidy also sees you on his screen, super low. It is 2 body shots right now, or just a magnetic to kill you. It ignores you and just keeps walking towards your team. And then also, the Kiriko here, who you're literally standing in front of, you're actually blocking some of her shots, could kill you right now very quickly and easily, and does none of the things. So these are the players at the level that you're at, which means that you are also this level of bad. I want to emphasize this. You are this bad that people who if you walk in front of 3-4 people on their screen, dead center in the middle of the screen, they will not attack you. That is your skill level. I would like to take a second for you to like just think about just how unskilled you are and how easy it will be to climb out of this rank by doing very basic things like attacking people who are on your screen. Here in the back line, somehow Cassidy misses a point-blank magnetic grenade, which is a tracking ability. That's incredible. So that happens. And then you're just damaging this Cassidy, who's super scared of you, despite being able to kill you with 3 hits or 2 hits with a headshot, and then finally kills you. So once again, you wasted your life doing absolutely nothing. And instead of doing this, what could you have done? I would say, again, just playing in a normal spot, playing back here, trying to keep your tank and DPS alive, and throwing a healing orb here, helping to peel the Reaper. Popping Coalescence right now would have been huge, because with Coalescence, you want to hit as many people as you can, right? It's a straight line beam. So right here, sorry, your Coalescence will hit the Reaper, you hit the Risa, hit the Sigma, hit the Brig, maybe hit the Cassidy too, depending on the angle. Like, you could literally hit 5-6 targets right now with the Coalescence, which would be absolutely massive and fight-changing. But instead, all you do is just right-click this Cassidy and then attack. Okay, next life. Tire's been used for some question mark reason. Once again, you're out here. You're like going out here to pick fights. That's not the type of hero you are. I mean, like, hypothetically, there are scenarios where Moira can do this, but in reality, especially at your level, I just would not think about it, because I don't think you have any idea like when you can take a fight. Like, you go out and pick Cassidy. For the record, Cassidy kills you in 3 hits. Right? He does 70 damage a shot. The only reason that you don't die here is because you regen just enough that the 3rd body shot doesn't kill you. Now you're like, wow, that was an interesting thing that I did. Like, the general awareness level that you show is like on par with like a 7-year-old playing this game. You go out here like, oh, let me just try to do the thing. Like, I'm just gonna right click him a little bit. Right click is not, I don't know, it's probably right trigger for you on what is it, Xbox or whatever it is. You go back and like, oh, that was a thing that happened, and then you go back and try it again. Cassidy misses you a ton, and you're probably thinking, wow, I made a really great play killing this Cassidy. You should never have been involved in this fight to begin with. And if you go up even one rank, I think you will get murdered by a DPS in that situation. This should never have happened. You should just play default healing your team. This is one of the reasons why I don't do many replays of really low rank games, is because the games are so messy that it's really hard for me to give you any possible advice because everyone is terrible. Right? Not like, you know, who they are as a person. I don't want to make it an ad hominem attack. But like as players of this game, they are incredibly unskilled. Right? All this Cassidy had to do to kill you when we were fighting is just stand still. You see how he's dodging? He doesn't need to dodge, right? So in this next fight, because you're not going to miss him anyway, right? It's a tracking ability. So you're going to come back again. He could just throw magnetic at you right now. And unless you fade, you die, right? Misses. He doesn't need to dodge. Just stand still. Just literally just stand still. Or just roll into you and right click. Like, he has so many options to instantly kill you. C-Pop Coalescence here. Again, it's not needed because it's a 5-on-4 situation or even a 5-on-3 situation. I don't think that me saying that's going to make any sense to you, though, based on the level of play. I think you're like, wait, what? What are you talking about? So I'm not going to bother explaining things about, like, ult economy or trying to be smart about that, because it's like, way beyond what you can probably, like, process at this point of your Overwatch career. Right? You're still very, very early. I think I would mostly just focus on just not dying and not doing ridiculous stuff like this. Your team is playing back in a smart location, right? They're playing at the choke, you know, at the cart, around the corner. Why are you out here? Why are you right-clicking the shield? Which, for the record, everybody can see. Which means they're going to come out here and immediately kill you. Except that they don't, because this is crazy. Like, the enemy team is, like, actually blind. And then you go here, and then you try to fade out. You should be dead now, and you do. You know, it's like tough. It's like, what advice do I give you here? Because I'll say the same advice about, like, okay, play behind your team, right? Play in a normal default spot for a support. Don't overexpose yourself. But when you do stuff like this, where you're just right-clicking the shield, like sucking on the shield, like what what is going through your mind? You know? That's why I'm curious, like, and I'm concerned whether or not my advice is actually going to register, because it doesn't seem like you're trying to win the game. It seems like you're just here to screw around, right? You're like the person who goes onto a basketball court, grabs the basketball, and just runs around like you're playing American football, you know, or like kicks it like you're playing soccer, you know, European football. Because you're like, I'm just here to screw around, you know. There's no. This couldn't possibly have been like, oh, I feel like this is gonna help me win the game, doing what I'm doing right here. The level of, like, general understanding of, like, how the game works is, like, so low that it's very hard for me to build you back up. But again, I think the most critical thing is just I would focus on healing people and keeping yourself alive, because everything else is, like, very hard for me to talk about based on your general level of play. All right. So again, I think right clicking right now is fine as long as nobody else is low. You get lit, that's a good reactive heal, fade and orb. So just a note right now, so the Reaper is going to come in, he's going to start pressuring you. So you must recognize that this is not a situation where anybody's going to escape. You have no fade, okay? The Reaper's in on your team. If you die here, or rather, if your DPS dies here, the fight's over anyway. So your perspective should not be, hey, how do I survive here? The perspective should be, how do I keep my teammates alive to give us a chance of winning this fight? If your Junkrat dies, the fight's over, okay? So now, looking at Reaper, right? Reaper does a really large amount of damage at close range. Junkrat, however, also does a really large amount of damage at close range. But Junkrat easily could do, like, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but like 150 to 200 burst damage. Well, per second. Like, he can actually do 200, and with the change it down, 220 with just one grenade and one mine, right? So he could 3-shot Reaper, or 2-shot if you consider it as, like, discrete instance. So he can, like, instantly kill this Reaper. So my perspective is, I am not going to do enough damage to kill the Reaper. There's no way. So I should just keep my Junkrat up to give him a chance at getting this kill. Because he definitely, if you keep him up for 2 seconds, he can insta-kill this Reaper. But instead, you decide to damage exclusively, and your Junkrat dies. And you keep leeching this Reaper, but you see it's not doing anything. Right? I don't think you have a good understanding of, like, how much damage you do, and how much damage opposing heroes do. You're coming back here. You're trying to heal your Orisa, but you're way too late. So your heal is actually it's like half hitting the Orisa, but you faded way too far away, right? When the Reaper went into the room here, you should have just given up and gone to help your tank out. Because clearly, like, you're not going to do anything to that Reaper, you're just wasting your time attacking. And you see how low your Orisa's going to get here, right? Getting shot up. If you stayed over here, right, played with your tank, then you would have all died together. But instead, your Orisa's going to die. And once she dies, the fight's over. Well, it's gonna last a little longer, but eventually you're going to die or get out of here. Yeah. So, Yurisa's in. You want to follow Kitsune Rush. Kitsune Rush is a bad run that hits the cart. This would have been a really good opportunity to throw a damage orb because the break drops to half health, and it would be split between the two of them, so it'd do 100 damage to her. So very good chance that you could have just killed her outright with this. Right, plus it goes through shields. Good fade out. Pop Coalescence, which I think is okay, but like not great. So you should have used this opportunity to heal your Kiriko, right? You definitely have an angle here to heal either below or above. Either one would have worked. It's more important than damaging the Reaper. Again, Coalescence heals like 3 times as much as it does do damage, so the healing's actually more valuable. You could have kept the Kiriko alive here if you just... Well, actually, High Noon killed her anyway. But if you're going to pop Coalescence here, then you're trying to do it. Then you just walk forward Coalescence and then you die. So ultimately, not a good Coalescence. I probably would have saved it for not when they're High Nooning. Just not a good time for it. Don't waste your time like right-clicking shields. It's not your job. You don't really do very much damage to shields to begin with. You should just walk through, right? Or even like faded, for example. Probably actually to the left. I probably would have faded to the left actually and played over here and healed and stayed away from the Cassidy. But right-clicking the shield's not gonna do anything. You gotta move up to your Orisa. You gotta walk to that shield right away. Now you gotta throw heal orb. You gotta throw heal orb, and you don't throw heal orb. Like you have heal orb available, right? Like you have orb the whole time, and you just get killed. So you're just not doing anything to keep your tank up, which is a big reason why your team is getting steamrolled, is you just don't do enough to keep the tank alive. Like you're doing like a very, very small amount of healing to your poor tank. You know, I mean, I actually want to run that back just to give you an idea for how long it is between when you heal the tank. Right. So tank's at full health. Wins out right now. It's going to start taking damage probably right here. Okay, so let's start talking 553. So 5 seconds. Like, you barely got healing after 5 seconds, right? So the tank went 5 seconds in a critical fight where you just don't heal. And as a result, your tank dies, and when your tank dies, the fight's over. That's like the pretty much, you know, general rule. Once again, you're frontlining, playing way too far in the front. You're very lucky that nobody punishes you here. Mail ulti is popped. This is fine. Again, you're frontlining. Fade, which is dangerous. I mean, using Fade aggressively is super, super dangerous. Again, for the reasons I mentioned, is the enemy team will track it and then they'll kill you. This Cassidy could kill you instantly right now because he's just magnetic, and then a body shot and the melee, and you die. But again, enemy team not as good as punishing you as they really should be. Which, of course, is going to teach you super bad habits, but, you know, that's fine. So, you did a good job line assigning that. Not a lot you can do. I mean, you can't stop that High Noon or anything. You should heal the Mei. So, it's a good job fading out. You're getting a little too preoccupied with the Mei, right? Like, she's too far away for you to do anything about it, so just, like, you know, right-click or heal or whatever you want to do in between. You're frontlining again. You see how you stepped in front of the tank? It causes you to get obliterated. And then because you step in front of the tank, you're not able to heal the tank, and you take this damage, which forces you to fade. So your Orisa should not die here, right? Again, if you'd been playing normal behind her, you could have shielded her the whole time, which would have given her way more time to respond to this instead of just getting instantly killed. Because you healed her a little more, she would have survived the stun, that she would have been use spin, and the Bastion tank would have ended. You pop Coalescence here, but you're literally like 3 people against 5. So now you have to try to kill 5 people with your Coalescence, which is not going to work. You're also exclusively targeting a tank. Coalescence only does like 50 damage a second or something. It's not going to kill tanks ever. Like, it's basically just tickles them. You could have used it to kill the Kiriko, by the way, but you just choose not to. And, you know, go for the tank. You throw Damage Orb despite seeing the Sigma has Grasp up, which means it gets instantly eaten, gives you no value. This Bastion is in tank form out here and could kill you instantly at any moment in time, but chooses not to. Alright, here your Orisa's in. Maybe you'll heal her this fight. That would be lovely. She ulties. Again, your healing will not go through shields. Oh, we're going to win this fight. That's good. That's not a time to throw a healing orb. Everybody's already healed up to full. I don't know why you're throwing a healing orb versus throwing damage orb down to farm coalescence. You see the low health Bastion on your right, you just don't bother attacking him because you want the Bastion to live, apparently. Alright, Bastion dies. You heal the Riza, thank God. I'd be so thrilled if I was you waste way too much healing after she's fully healed. I don't think you're like even looking at her health bar. I don't know if you have allied health bars turned off somehow, but that's not good. Don't waste your heal juice. You push up, which is actually a pretty good idea to farm multi. You should throw a damage orb right now. Nope, not interested in doing that. That's fine. You should throw damage orb now. Nope. Okay, now you throw it, but too late. So now you might not have your cooldown when you actually need it, right? Because it's down for 8 seconds. Take forms up. You decide to go this way, which is crazy because now you're stuck over here for the next 8 seconds. Again, if I was a Cassidy, I would just push behind this wall and then go kill you. But again, don't worry about it because nobody in this game actually knows how to kill anyone. You get shot from above, you have to fade backwards. Once again, you're going to end up in front of the tank despite being very low. But nobody gets to the cart, so great. So I'm not going to watch the whole attack because that's going to be miserable for me. So I'm just going to watch maybe this part right here. The last 1 minute. So you're playing with Ryan. So High Noon gets, you hear High Noon right there. That should cause you to immediately turn and locate him, right? He's clearly behind you. I would have tried to figure out how close he is behind me so I can react. He cannot instantly kill you. It starts at like 60 damage. It takes about 2 seconds to charge up to be able to kill you, right? So if we just watch this in real time, you can see how slowly this is going to go. Right? So it takes quite a while. You have a lot of time to respond to this. So in this situation, right, you turn, you locate where the Cassidy is, and then you make a decision from there. Number one, right, the easiest thing is to take cover. You probably need to fade at this point, unless you're very quick and you can get around the corner. I would probably fade here, even being this close. I would trust fade over walking, number one. Number two is that you could try to go for a play here. So to go for a play is you could fade, jump, land behind him, throw damage orb, and immediately start damaging him while walking away from him. Because that will probably panic him into popping it early before he really wants to, because you can conceivably kill him. Damage orb does up to 200 damage. Your right click leech does, I don't know, 50 damage a second or so. So I think it does 200 over 4 seconds. So he'll be dead in about 4 seconds ish, give or take. So like not super fast, but enough to make him nervous. Okay, but the problem is he could still kill your team and then turn and kill you. That's like the worst case scenario. Option number two is that he might turn, do a 180, and just kill you with High Noon, which is also possible. But it's still better off than if you feel like this is a really good position for him where he's going to kill your whole team. At higher levels, I would not feel compelled to do that. I would just take cover, because I would assume that everybody here, like the Kiriko, the Ryan can just turn, do a 180, the Genji can deflect or dash. I would assume I don't need to do that. But if you want to try to make a play by diving behind him, you can. Otherwise, safe move, just go inside the room. Wait for the fire, come back out. Ignoring it is the worst possible thing that you could do, which is what you do. All right, so that's a big team fight loss right there. You're down to your final fight. You should really be following your tank in. This is not the time to be farming coalescence. You need every single orb. Like now, you need perfect play to win, right? It's down to one fight. Perfect play is how you win this game. So you see the Genji super low. You should immediately start healing him. Nope, he's too far away. You should have thrown heal orb by default. When pressure is on, throw heal orbs. Heal orb heals 50% more than damage orbs, so very, very valuable. Again, do not step out of cover. It's not your job to do this, right? Just stay in cover, heal up the Rhine, so that your Rhine can go back in. Because you step out of cover, you take a lot of damage here. You throw a damage orb, which is totally useless right now. Everybody has way too much health for it to do anything. Your Genji is blading, despite the fact that he had like 1 health. Like again, I think you just play in here, keep your Rhine alive, and then maybe you can win this, right? Genji gets a kill. It's not likely, but that's kind of the best option that you had. Okay, so in summary, I would say, number one, play behind your tank. Number two, stop trying to take like these crazy fights all the time. It's just not good for you. It's tough because I think you still are going into anyway, but I think you need to understand. I would say maybe this is a better one. You should learn how much damage heroes do and what ranges and what their abilities are, and then use that to try to understand when you can take fights and when you can't. And number three, most of all, heal your tank. Like, Healing other people is nice, but the minimum heal your tank, especially if you're playing Moira. It's very trivially easy to heal your tank. You're like the highest healer in the game. Like the in terms of like the amount of healing you can output, it's actually crazy how much healing you can put out. So I would strongly recommend that you heal your tank, and I think that will. I think just doing those 3 tips alone, forget the dueling tip. I think literally just playing behind your tank and healing your tank will get you to silver. No problem. Like literally just those 2 things, no problem. Will get you to silver easily. All right, forget the kills part. Like just that is enough. All right, hopefully that's helpful.